Control your emotional reactions with these 10 daily practices. Stoicism. Have you ever felt like your emotions are controlling you, as if you're on autopilot, just reacting without thinking? Picture this. You're dealing with a stressful day at work, and a minor issue sparks an overwhelming rush of frustration. You're about to snap. But what if I told you that you have the power to choose how you react, no matter what life throws at you? As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely put it, we are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. Today, we're diving into 10 daily Stoic practices that can help you take control of your emotional responses and regain your inner peace. This isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending you're unaffected. It's about learning how to respond with wisdom and clarity, even in the midst of chaos. So, are you ready to take back control and become calm in your own storm? Let's jump right in and discover how Stoicism can transform your emotional life. Number 1. The nature of emotions. All right, let's dive into something crucial for anyone trying to live with greater emotional control, especially as you move through the ups and downs of life. Emotions, despite what many might think, aren't your enemy. They're more like that intense workout partner who pushes you just a little too hard at times, annoying in the moment, but ultimately helping you grow stronger. Emotions have a real purpose. They alert you to threats, celebrate your victories, and strengthen bonds with others. But, just like an overzealous workout partner, when left unchecked, emotions can hijack your mind, taking over your logic and leading to regretful actions. The challenge isn't in feeling these emotions, but in learning how to manage them, especially when they seem to come out of nowhere, like a wave crashing over you. Here's a deeper look at what happens when we feel emotions. Our brains are designed for survival, not necessarily for the pace and stress of modern life. When a strong emotion hits, like anger or fear, it activates the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, before your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical thought, even has a chance to respond. This is why in moments of high stress or frustration, we can react impulsively, like snapping at someone or storming out of a room, before we even realize what's happening. The body's immediate reaction is purely instinctual. It's that flight or fight response kicking in. But here's the thing. Just because your amygdala is firing off alarms, doesn't mean you have to follow its lead. You're not helpless in the face of your emotions. While you may not always control how you feel, you always have control over how you respond. That's the real key to emotional strength, being able to feel your emotions and still choose how to act like the calm at the center of a storm. True strength isn't about never feeling anger, fear, or frustration. It's about mastering the art of managing those emotions so they don't run your life. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in. The ancient Stoics were some of the most mentally disciplined people in history, and they had a lot to teach us about emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a philosopher. He was also the emperor of Rome, facing wars, plagues, and constant stress. Yet, he still had the wisdom to say, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Here was a man who had an empire to manage, wars to fight, and crises to deal with. But he understood that his true power lay not in controlling what happened to him, but in controlling his response to those events. If Marcus Aurelius could do it under such pressure, there's certainly hope for us to do the same in our everyday lives. The Stoics taught that it isn't the events themselves that cause us distress, but rather how we interpret them. This is key. Think of it like lifting weights. The weight itself doesn't change, but your mindset determines whether you push through that last rep or let it defeat you. In every situation, you have the power to adjust your perspective. They believed that instead of fighting your feelings, you should focus on your actions, what you do, how you respond. Bruce Lee, another champion of mental discipline, put it this way: "You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. True power is sitting back and observing everything with logic. If words control you, That means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. True power is restraint. It's this kind of restraint, this ability to pause and decide how to act rather than just react, that the Stoics mastered, and it's something we can all learn to do. In today's world, it's easy to get swept up in the emotional currents of modern life. Work stress, family pressures, unexpected setbacks, they can all trigger powerful emotional responses. It's tempting to let anger or frustration drive us, whether it's snapping at a colleague or blowing up over a minor inconvenience. But just because emotions come rushing in doesn't mean they have to control the outcome. We live in a world where distractions and emotional triggers are everywhere, yet the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and actions, offers us a way to rise above these external pressures. Life is always going to throw challenges our way. What matters is how we deal with those challenges when emotions start to surge. You can choose to be the calm in the storm, even when everything around you feels out of control. Incorporating Stoicism into your daily life doesn't require some drastic shift. It's about small, daily practices that help you strengthen your emotional resilience over time. Start by practicing awareness. Whenever an emotion surfaces, take a moment to observe it without judgment. Acknowledge it, but don't let it dictate your actions. Next, take a breath and think before you respond. Pause before reacting to an email, a comment, or a difficult situation. Ask yourself, what do I control here? What's within my power to change, and what isn't? Most importantly, remind yourself that the emotional reaction you feel in the moment isn't permanent. Emotions are transient. They rise and fall, like waves in the ocean. What you do next, how you decide to respond, will define the course of your day, your week, and your life. As the Stoics knew well, emotional strength isn't about becoming numb to your feelings, but about becoming the master of how you act in response to them. You don't have to suppress your emotions, but you also don't have to be ruled by them. With practice and mindfulness, you can learn to observe your emotions without being swept away by them, and by doing so, you can lead a life that's guided by reason, clarity, and inner strength, no matter what modern life throws at you. The goal is not to eliminate emotion but to harness it, to use it as a tool for growth, rather than letting it become a force that controls you. So remember this. You can't always control the emotional waves that crash against you, but you can choose how to ride them. Take a breath, pause, and decide how to respond. This is how you take charge of your life, how you turn challenges into opportunities for growth, and how you start living with greater emotional resilience. The Stoics knew this well, and with their wisdom, you can do it too. Number 2. The power of choice. All right, let's break this down. Between the stimulus, the event that happens to you, and your reaction, there's a space. It might seem tiny, almost imperceptible, but in that moment is where you hold all your power, the power of choice. This is where things get real. Think about it like a boxer in the ring. Life throws punches at you all the time. Maybe your boss yells at you in front of the whole office, or maybe a close friend lets you down. Those are the punches. Your emotions flare up, and it feels like everything inside you is telling you to retaliate, to react, to do something. But in that fraction of a second, you've got the choice to decide how you're going to respond. This is where your strength lies. You can let your emotions take over and likely end up regretting your actions, or you can pause, reflect, and then make a conscious decision on how to move forward. As Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson once said, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. The same applies here. Mastering your reactions is about consistently choosing to stay in control, no matter how strong your emotions may feel. You're the boss of your actions, not your feelings. It's like Theodore Roosevelt said, "I am the one who can control my thoughts, which will lead to my feelings, which will lead to my actions." So the next time life throws you a sucker punch, remember that you hold the power to choose how you respond. Well, it all starts with a few simple, battle-tested techniques that help you control your emotional reactions when life gets intense. First off, let's talk about the pause and reflect. This is one of the most effective tools in your emotional arsenal. When you feel the heat rising inside you, whether it's anger, frustration, or anxiety, hit the brakes. Take a deep breath, count to 10 if you need to, and give yourself a moment to think before reacting. It's like stepping back in a fight to reassess your opponent. By giving yourself that second to breathe, you create a gap between stimulus and reaction, which gives you the clarity to decide whether reacting in the heat of the moment will help you or hurt you. Most times, you'll find that the emotional response that first comes to mind isn't the one that serves you best in the long run. Then there's cognitive reframing. Sounds fancy, but it's really just about changing your perspective on a situation. Let's say your workout buddy bails on you last minute. Instead of getting frustrated and thinking, "This day is ruined," try flipping the script and thinking, "Now I can push myself harder without any distractions." It's all about looking at the same event from a different angle. Think about Rocky Balboa. He didn't have fancy gyms to train in, but he took whatever situation he was in, the meat locker, the stairs of Philadelphia, and turned it into an opportunity to become stronger. The same principle applies to your life. If you can reframe challenges as opportunities, you'll be amazed at how much more in control you feel. Next up is values-based decision-making. This might sound like something out of a business book, but it's actually pretty simple. It's about asking yourself, what would the person I want to be do right now? Imagine you're the hero of your own story. How would your hero respond to this challenge? Would they lose their temper over something small, or would they keep their focus on the bigger picture? This method helps you align your actions with your highest values, ensuring that your responses are consistent with the person you want to become, rather than reacting impulsively based on emotion. For example, if you pride yourself on being calm under pressure, a minor inconvenience like traffic shouldn't set you off. Instead, you can use that time to reflect, plan, or even listen to something uplifting. Finally, we have emotional acceptance. This one's tough for a lot of people, especially guys who are often taught to suppress their emotions. But here's the truth. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Trying to suppress anger, sadness, or frustration only makes them more intense. Instead of fighting these emotions, acknowledge them. Let them exist. The trick is not to let them control your actions. It's like pain during a tough workout. It's there, it's real, but you push through it because you know it's temporary and it's helping you grow. In the same way, once you accept your emotions, you can decide how to respond to them rather than letting them dictate your actions. When you can stay composed and respond thoughtfully in high-pressure situations, you become the kind of person others rely on. Imagine being the guy people trust, not because you're perfect, but because they know you won't explode when things go wrong. You'll start responding to conflict with clarity instead of reacting out of frustration or anger. As a result, people will trust your judgment more, and you'll build deeper, more meaningful connections. In fact, as Muhammad Ali said, "Don't count the days, make the days count." When you master your emotional responses, each interaction becomes an opportunity to make a positive impact, no matter how small the moment. Your decision-making will also improve. Without the fog of unchecked emotions clouding your judgment, you'll be able to make better choices. As the chess champion Garry Kasparov once said, "The highest-level players are not emotional players, they are technicians." By using these techniques, you'll become more like a chess player, calm, strategic, and deliberate in your actions. This kind of emotional mastery builds resilience like a bulletproof vest for your mind. When life throws curveballs your way, and trust me it will, you'll bounce back faster because you've learned to keep your cool. You won't waste energy reacting to drama. Instead, you'll become like a Navy SEAL, calm under pressure and prepared for anything life throws your way. When you gain control over your emotional reactions, you'll feel more in control of your life. No more feeling like you're at the mercy of your emotions or the circumstances around you. You'll feel like the puppet master, not the puppet. This sense of control is life-changing. It's the difference between feeling like life is happening to you and knowing that you're in the driver's seat, making life happen on your terms. When you master choosing your actions, you believe in yourself like never before. As Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, "The mind is the limit. As long as the mind can envision the fact that you can do something, you can do it, as long as you really believe 100%. Mastering your emotional reactions isn't just about becoming more composed. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about being the hero in your own life story, not the victim. Life throws a punch your way, whether it's a difficult conversation, an unexpected setback, or a moment of intense stress. Remember this: you have the power to choose how you respond. You can either let your emotions control you, or you can take a step back, reflect, and choose the path that aligns with the person you want to be. It's your choice. And with consistent practice, you'll master the art of emotional control, becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient every day. This is how you become a true champion in the ring of life. Number 3. Common challenges and how to overcome them. Mastering your emotional reactions isn't easy. It's like trying to climb a steep hill with a heavy weight on your back. The challenges are real, and the road to mastering your actions will test you in ways you never imagined. But here's the thing. The ability to control your emotions is what separates those who rise to the top from those who stay stuck in the same place. You're going to face hurdles. You're going to slip up, but each time you get back on track, you become stronger. First up, dealing with intense emotions. Picture this. You're driving, and someone cuts you off, and your blood starts to boil. It's easy to stay calm in that moment. Deep breath. Count to 10, right? But what about when something really shakes you? Like your boss humiliating you in front of everyone at the office, or a close friend betraying your trust. The intensity of those emotions can feel overwhelming. But the trick here is to treat those intense emotions like a tough workout. Feel them, let yourself experience them, but don't let them control you. You're in charge of your actions. You've got to embrace the burn, like Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom. The more you practice controlling your actions when under pressure, the more naturally it will come to you. It's like building muscle. At first, it's tough, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. In those intense moments, you can choose not to react impulsively, but to take a step back, reflect, and choose the response that aligns with who you want to be. Then there's breaking those old habits. Our brains are wired to take the easy way out. When life throws a challenge at us, our knee-jerk reaction is often emotional: anger, frustration, or fear. It's the shortcut our brains like to take. But just like quitting junk food, breaking that pattern takes work. You'll slip up. You might even find yourself reacting emotionally before you realize it. But that's the nature of the beast. Every time you pause and choose your response instead of reacting on autopilot, you're rewiring your brain. Bruce Lee said it perfectly. "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about repetition. Every time you make the conscious choice to act thoughtfully, you get a little bit better. And eventually, this becomes second nature. It's not about being flawless. It's about the consistent effort to grow. Lastly, let's talk about staying consistent. You're going to have days when it feels like everything is clicking, when you're making all the right choices, and your emotional control is on point. But then there will be those other days when you feel like you're back at square one, like nothing is going right. That's completely normal. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about getting back up when you fall down. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson puts it best. Success isn't overnight. It's when every day you get a little better than the day before. It's a process. You're not going to master it all at once, but each day you practice, you build a stronger foundation. The important part is showing up again and again, especially after a setback. It's like building a muscle. You may not see results right away, but with consistent effort, those results will come. Now let's see how all of this looks in real life. Imagine when you're at the gym, crushing your personal best, when some loudmouth starts showing off, distracting everyone. Your old self might have gotten angry, confronted him, and caused a scene. But now, after practicing emotional control, you pause. You realize his actions don't define your workout. You refocus on your goals, block him out like background noise, and finish your set even stronger than before. The loudmouth might still be looking for attention, but you've turned the moment into a victory for yourself. This brings me to a lesson I want you to keep in mind. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, said Mike Tyson. Life is unpredictable and it's guaranteed to throw punches your way. How you respond to those punches is what defines you. You can choose to react impulsively, letting your emotions take over, or you can step back, make a choice, and handle the situation with calm and clarity. Choosing your actions instead of merely reacting is what makes the difference between a victim and a champion. Not out of anger, but out of determination. 6 months later, not only have you been promoted, but you've also far surpassed the position you initially wanted. Your choice to respond with professionalism and patience paid off. This brings me to a lesson I want you to keep in mind. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, said Mike Tyson. Life is unpredictable, and it's guaranteed to throw punches your way. How you respond to those punches is what defines you. You can choose to react impulsively, letting your emotions take over, or you can step back, make a choice, and handle the situation with calm and clarity. Number 4. Scientific support. Now I can already hear some of you thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but where's the proof? Well, let me tell you, science has got your back. We're not just talking about fluffy ideas here. There's real research that supports this idea of mastering your emotional reactions, and it aligns perfectly with what the Stoics knew thousands of years ago. Neuroscience has discovered something truly remarkable. Our brains are not fixed, they're plastic. And by that, I don't mean they're like a water bottle you can mold into shape, but rather, they can actually change based on the actions we take. Every time you choose your response over your initial emotional reaction, you're rewiring your brain. It's just like building muscle at the gym. The more you practice controlling your emotions, the stronger your ability to manage them becomes. One study found that people who practice emotional regulation, the fancy term for choosing your actions over your emotions, end up with better relationships and greater career success. These people aren't just happier, they're actually excelling at life. Imagine not only controlling your emotions, but using that control as a lever to push you forward in everything you do. And it doesn't stop there. Harvard University, one of the most respected research institutions in the world, found that meditation, a practice often recommended by Stoics for mastering emotions, can physically alter the structure of your brain. They discovered that meditation increases the size of the areas responsible for focus and decision-making. Think about that for a moment. It's like taking a legal, natural steroid for your brain, only instead of bulking up muscles, you're strengthening your mind's ability to focus, think clearly, and make better decisions. Research from the University of Michigan has shown that people who believe they can control their emotions actually have more control over them. It's like the placebo effect, but for your emotional resilience. If you believe you can handle your emotions, you're already halfway to mastering them. It's proof that the mind's belief in its own power can significantly influence the outcome. The Stoics were well ahead of their time, teaching that our mind is the ultimate battleground. And now science is backing them up. The connection is undeniable. Your mind can be your most powerful ally, and with the right practices, you can reshape it to serve you. Same goes for emotional control. You've got to work at it daily. So let's dive into your mental workout plan. First off, let's talk about mindfulness. This is your mental warm-up. Think of it as a moment to stretch your mental muscles. Every day, take 5 minutes to sit in silence and observe your thoughts and feelings. Don't judge them. Don't try to push them away. Just let them pass by, like clouds drifting in the sky. This practice helps you create space between stimulus and response. When something triggers you, mindfulness allows you to pause before reacting. As Navy SEAL Mark Divine puts it, learn to step back from your thoughts and emotions, and you'll find the path to victory. It's a powerful tool to help you become the observer of your own mind, rather than just reacting impulsively. Next, let's talk about journaling. I know it might sound a little soft, but trust me, it's like a post-workout analysis for your mind. At the end of each day, take a moment to write about a situation where you chose your action over your emotion. Reflect on what happened, how you handled it, and what the outcome was. This practice not only reinforces your ability to make thoughtful choices, but it also helps you process your experiences and prepare for the future. When you write it down, it makes the lessons more tangible and you can strategize for next time. Remember, the more you practice this kind of reflection, the more you'll start recognizing those moments when you can take control of your emotions before they take control of you. Another powerful tool is visualization. It's something athletes use all the time. Take a few minutes each day to visualize yourself responding calmly and effectively to a challenging situation. This mental rehearsal helps your brain prepare for real-world challenges. When the situation arises, your mind has already practiced how to handle it, making it easier to stay calm and controlled in the moment. This is how champions prepare, not just physically but mentally. By visualizing your success, you're already setting yourself up to win before the game even begins. And then, there's the cold shower challenge. Now this one isn't for the faint of heart, but hear me out. Starting your day with a 30-second cold shower isn't just about waking up. It's about teaching your mind to respond to discomfort. It's a simple but powerful practice that forces you to make a conscious decision. Will you shy away from the discomfort, or will you choose to embrace it and push through? It's like any other tough situation in life. The cold shower is just a smaller version of the bigger challenges you'll face. As Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, the last 3 or 4 reps is what makes the muscle grow. This area of pain divides a champion from someone who is not a champion. The same goes for your mind. The tougher the practice, the stronger your mind becomes. These daily practices aren't easy, but they're essential. They're like the last few reps at the gym, the ones that really build strength. And just like physical training, they're what separate the mental champions from everyone else. The more you push yourself to practice these techniques, the more your ability to choose your actions will become second nature. Your emotions will still be there, of course, but instead of being a chaotic force that controls you, they'll become like a well-trained dog, present but under your command. So, if you want to master your emotions, you have to commit to the daily grind. Keep training your mind, and you'll find that you have the power to choose your responses, no matter what life throws your way. Your emotions won't own you, you'll own them. The Stoics knew this truth centuries ago, and now science is showing us exactly how to put it into practice. As we wrap up this segment, I just want to take a moment to thank you for being part of this journey. It's not every day we get to reflect on our lives and take control of our actions, so I'm truly grateful for your presence. Now, I want to hear from you. Whether you're just starting out on this path or you've been walking it for a while, your voice matters. If you're new here, simply type, "I'm new" below to introduce yourself. If you've been on this journey for some time, let's hear your "I am Stoic" to remind yourself and others of the commitment we all share. This is your journey, and your participation not only helps you grow, but also strengthens our community. Let's keep moving forward together, one step at a time. Number 5. 10 daily Stoic habits to control your emotions. 1. Mindfulness training. When it comes to controlling your emotions, one of the most powerful habits you can develop is mindfulness. It's simple, but don't let that fool you. It's also incredibly powerful. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let your thoughts come and go, but don't chase them. Let them drift by like clouds. It's important to remember that the goal isn't to stop thinking, but to observe your thoughts without being swept away by them. This practice is like mental weightlifting. It strengthens your mind, helping you build the ability to stay calm even in chaotic or stressful situations. Over time, you can extend the practice to 10, then 15, and eventually 20 minutes. The longer you practice, the more resilient you'll become. As David Goggins wisely says, the mind is the most powerful weapon you'll ever have. Train it. Think about that for a second. If you're training your mind daily, you're preparing yourself to remain composed no matter what life throws at you. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require fancy equipment or a lot of time, just consistent effort. It's a habit that anyone, no matter their age or lifestyle, can implement. When you're able to observe your thoughts rather than react impulsively, you're stepping into your power. You're taking control of your emotions rather than letting them control you. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. And this mental strength carries over into every part of your life, your work, your relationships, even your health. You'll begin to notice that you handle stress more effectively, make clearer decisions, and respond with greater composure in moments that might have once triggered you. So, make mindfulness a part of your daily routine. In a world where distractions are constant, the ability to pause, breathe, and center yourself is more valuable than ever. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it, that matters. By training your mind with mindfulness, you're taking control of how you react to the world around you, and that's the key to mastering your emotions. 2. The emotional log. If you're serious about mastering your emotions and taking control of your reactions, there's a simple but powerful habit you can start tonight. The emotional log. It's a tool that might seem basic at first, but don't underestimate its power. Grab a notebook or even just a note app on your phone, and every night write down 3 things: an emotion you felt strongly during the day, the situation that triggered it, and how you chose to act. It's crucial that you're honest. This is your moment to reflect without excuses. The goal here isn't to judge yourself, but to observe, understand, and learn from each emotional experience. Think of it like a game tape review for athletes. Just as a football player watches footage of the game to see what went right and what went wrong, you're doing the same for your emotional responses. You'll notice patterns over time, situations that tend to trigger you, emotions that arise more often than others, and ways you've reacted that either helped or hurt your goals. Every emotional reaction, every mistake, is an opportunity to improve, to become better at responding in a way that aligns with your values, your goals, and your highest self. You'll also start to see how your emotions are connected to your thoughts and actions. For example, you may realize that when you're stressed at work, you tend to snap at your family at home. When you look at it, you might see that stress at work isn't really the issue. Perhaps it's the way you view the work itself or the way you handle stress in general. Over time, this process of reflection helps you build emotional intelligence, a skill that's just as important, if not more so, than technical knowledge in today's world. If you could handle your emotions better, make better decisions, and remain calm when others are losing their heads, wouldn't that put you ahead in almost every area of life? Whether it's at work, with family, or in your relationships, your ability to respond instead of react is what sets you apart from the crowd. You can think of the emotional log as a way to check in with yourself every night, to evaluate your day not just by what you accomplished, but by how you managed yourself, how you kept your emotional balance, how you stayed true to your values even when things didn't go as planned. By becoming more self-aware, you can begin to reshape your responses to external events and influence your inner peace. Each day you spend reflecting on your emotional responses brings you one step closer to mastering your reactions. And don't worry if you slip up. The beauty of the emotional log is that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. The Stoics believed that the key to peace and happiness was in our ability to control our reactions to the world around us. As Seneca wisely said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By learning to manage your emotions, you stop suffering from imagined scenarios and start responding more thoughtfully to the reality before you. This is how you build a life of greater clarity, purpose, and inner strength. 3. The Stoic Strike. Let's talk about something that might seem a bit crazy at first, but hear me out. It's called the Stoic Strike, and it's a daily practice that can radically change your ability to control your emotions. Every day, pick something uncomfortable to do, whether it's taking a cold shower, skipping a meal, or pushing through a tough workout when you're already feeling drained. You choose discomfort on purpose. Now, I know this might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would you deliberately put yourself in an uncomfortable situation when you could just relax and enjoy life? But that's exactly the point. You see, we live in a world that encourages comfort at every turn. It's so easy to get caught in the cycle of seeking ease, whether it's the comfort of our soft couch, the quick fix of junk food, or even taking the easy way out at work. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Think about it. When was the last time you achieved something truly remarkable by staying comfortable? Success, growth, and real change always come from pushing through discomfort and doing the hard things that challenge you, that test your limits. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles, the discomforts, and the struggles in our lives are not here to stop us. They are here to shape us, to teach us, and to make us stronger. When you choose discomfort, whether it's taking that freezing cold shower, skipping a meal, or showing up for a workout when your body is telling you to rest, you are training yourself to act in the face of your feelings. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice this, the stronger your ability becomes to choose your actions instead of letting your emotions control you. Here's where it gets interesting. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to make decisions when you're already uncomfortable? It's almost like the discomfort turns off your emotional reactions and forces you to think more clearly. You've probably faced days when everything feels off. Maybe you woke up tired, stressed, and ready to snap at someone, but you made a choice to go for a run anyway. In the middle of that run, you likely found clarity. Your mind calmed down, your frustration faded, and you felt empowered. That's because discomfort makes you focus. It strips away distractions and forces you to deal with what really matters. The Stoic Strike doesn't just build physical endurance, it also builds mental resilience. You'll start to notice that over time you can face life's challenges with more grace, more clarity, and less emotional reaction. In those moments when life throws curveballs, when someone cuts you off in traffic, when work gets overwhelming, when a conversation goes south, you'll have built up the emotional muscle to stay calm and act intentionally, instead of reacting impulsively. Think about how many moments you've had in your life where emotions took the wheel. Whether it was anger, fear, or frustration, you might have found yourself doing things you later regretted. But what if, instead of reacting, you trained yourself to respond with purpose? That's the power of the Stoic Strike. Every day, by doing something uncomfortable, you're learning how to take control of your emotions no matter the situation. You're learning to let discomfort sharpen your decision-making and strengthen your resolve. You're becoming more than just someone who reacts to life's events. You're becoming someone who can face adversity with calm, clarity, and confidence. How could embracing discomfort today set you up for greater emotional control tomorrow? Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about practice. Every day, the Stoic Strike is an opportunity to take a step forward in mastering your emotional reactions. As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So, choose your discomfort, choose your growth, and choose to become the person you were meant to be. 4. Visualization reps. Now let's dive into one of the most powerful tools in the Stoics toolkit, visualization. I'm talking about spending 10 minutes a day deliberately imagining tough scenarios. Situations that could trigger your emotions, like a confrontation at work, a stressful family situation, or an unexpected setback. The key here isn't just to imagine what happens, but to see yourself staying calm, in control, and choosing your response wisely, no matter how intense the situation might be. This isn't some mystical think yourself into success thing. This is backed by science and rooted in Stoic wisdom. You see, mental rehearsal works. Just like athletes who spend hours visualizing their performance before they even step on the field, you can train your mind to react with composure, clarity, and purpose. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. When you visualize yourself handling stress, you're preparing yourself for the challenges that are inevitably going to come your way. You're mentally rehearsing the tough moments so that when they show up in real life, your emotional reactions are no longer a reflex but a conscious choice. This practice can be likened to sharpening a knife. Each time you visualize yourself choosing calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, you're making your mental muscle sharper. And just like physical training, it gets stronger the more you do it. You're essentially reprogramming your brain to see the world differently, not as a place that's trying to break you, but as a space where you have the power to respond thoughtfully. I know it might sound too simple to be effective, but stick with me. The truth is, our brains don't distinguish between something we vividly imagine and something we actually experience. That means every time you visualize yourself acting with emotional control, your brain is creating new neural pathways, strengthening your ability to act when the real test comes. Let me ask you, when was the last time you felt caught off guard by a situation, your emotions taking the lead, and you later wished you'd responded differently? Now, what if you had mentally rehearsed that exact moment before it happened? How differently would you have handled it? Visualization reps work because they give your mind the chance to practice before life throws the curveball. They allow you to test different responses, hone in on your best choice, and build that muscle so that, when the real thing happens, you don't freeze or let emotions take over. Instead, you act from a place of calm and rational thought, choosing your response instead of reacting impulsively. Start today. Set aside 10 minutes, close your eyes, and picture a scenario that usually triggers you, whether it's a tense conversation or a challenging work situation. Picture yourself navigating it with control, staying calm, and making the decision you wish you would have made last time. Over time, you'll find that your ability to handle real-life situations with clarity, patience, and wisdom improves. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the impediment to action advances action. By practicing these mental reps, you're preparing to face those challenges with a calm mind, ready to choose your actions over your emotions. The more you train your mind, the more automatic this becomes, and soon, you'll be able to stay cool in even the most difficult situations. 5. The Daily Catalyst. Every morning before you dive into the rush of the day, take a moment to pause and ask yourself one simple but powerful question. What's the one thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? This isn't about checking off a to-do list or just getting through the day. It's about setting a purposeful intention to make choices that will serve you in the long run. Think of it like planting seeds for a future that you'll be proud of. It could be as small as making a healthier meal choice, taking a moment to exercise, or spending time on a project that you know will pay off later. These are the things that, when repeated consistently, build a life of discipline, intention, and growth. It's easy to get caught up in the moment, to want immediate comfort and gratification, but the real secret to success, and to emotional control, is learning how to choose long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Every time you ask yourself that question, you're strengthening the muscle of delayed gratification. You're teaching yourself that enduring temporary discomfort now leads to greater satisfaction later. And let's be honest, isn't that a battle we all face on a daily basis? The pull of instant gratification is everywhere. Whether it's hitting the snooze button for just 5 more minutes of sleep, skipping a workout because you're tired, or opting for junk food instead of something that will truly fuel your body. In the moment, they might feel good, but deep down, they don't serve you in the way that choosing the hard thing would. Now, I'm not saying we should never indulge in life's little pleasures, but when we let the pursuit of instant gratification become a habit, we end up sacrificing our future well-being. That's where the power of this daily question comes in. Think about it. What would happen if you started each day by asking yourself what action could help you become the person you want to be? For instance, let's say you're working on a long-term project, but today you're feeling drained. The temptation to procrastinate is strong. Think about how you could implement this practice into your own life. What would happen if, every morning, you set your intention with one small, meaningful task that moves you toward your bigger vision? It could be spending time with your family, working on a passion project, learning a new skill, or even just organizing your space. These small, deliberate actions add up over time and create a compounding effect, much like investing money in a savings account. At first, the balance seems small, but over time, those small actions begin to build something truly substantial. I know this takes discipline. It's not always easy to choose the long-term path over the easy, comfortable one. But every time you take that action, you're exercising control over your emotions, pushing past the desire for comfort, and building a future that aligns with your values. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." By starting each day with the simple question of what you can do for your future, you're choosing not to waste it. You're creating a habit of focusing on long-term benefits over fleeting pleasures, and that, my friend, is the key to emotional control and a meaningful life. 6. The micro-decision drill. Every day you're faced with hundreds of small decisions. From the moment you wake up, you're already making choices. Should I hit snooze or get up? What will I eat for breakfast? Should I check my phone or focus on something more productive? These seemingly minor decisions might feel insignificant at the time, but in reality, they're shaping your life. It's easy to let your emotions dictate these choices, to choose the quick fix, the instant gratification, or the comfortable option. But what if you could consciously take control of even the smallest decisions? What if you could train yourself to make these choices with intention, even when your mind is scattered or your emotions are telling you to do the opposite? This is the essence of what I like to call the micro-decision drill. Think of it like a workout for your mind. Each time you make a decision, whether it's as small as choosing what to eat or as significant as how to react to a message, you're building your mental muscle. The more aware and deliberate you are in these moments, the more control you'll have over your actions and emotions. Now, I get it. It's not always easy. The world today is designed to pull us in a million directions. You get a text, and before you know it, you're sucked into an endless scroll of social media. Or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, so you grab comfort food or procrastinate on an important task. But each time you make these decisions without thinking, you're essentially letting your impulses take the reins. As a Stoic, we want to learn to take a step back and observe our emotions, not let them dictate our actions. Every time you catch yourself in the act of making a small decision, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what choice will serve my long-term well-being? This simple question can help you turn automatic, emotion-driven decisions into intentional, thoughtful actions. That pause, that second of awareness, can redirect your actions toward something more productive, like reading a book, taking a walk, or even just practicing a moment of gratitude. The beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require a grand gesture. It's the accumulation of small, everyday choices that add up to big changes in your life. Over time, you'll begin to notice that these small conscious decisions start to influence your bigger decisions. You begin to trust yourself more, and you start to see yourself as someone who has control over their actions, not a passive observer of life. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And it's true. Your decisions are a reflection of your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your reality. You don't have to be controlled by your emotions or the chaos around you. Instead, you can choose how to respond, thoughtfully, calmly, and with purpose. Now think about the next time you're faced with a decision. It could be as simple as what to eat or how to respond to a text. In that moment, pause. 7. The Gratitude Slam. Ending your day with a gratitude practice might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful habits you can adopt to take control of your emotions. I'm talking about the Gratitude Slam. Taking a moment at the end of every day to forcefully name 3 things you're truly grateful for. Now why forcefully? Because let's be honest. Some days, gratitude is the last thing that comes to mind. After a stressful day, when you're tired or frustrated, it can feel impossible to focus on the good. But that's exactly why you need to do it, especially when it doesn't come easy. Just like lifting weights forces your muscles to grow stronger, actively choosing gratitude forces your mind to see the positives, even when your emotions are trying to pull you in the other direction. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And the way you react, especially to life's challenges, is often determined by your mindset. When you choose gratitude, you train your mind to find value in every situation, no matter how difficult it seems. Sure, you might have had a tough day at work or a disagreement with someone close to you, but by practicing gratitude, you shift your focus. Instead of dwelling on the negative, you start to notice the things that truly matter. The roof over your head, the people who care about you, or even the simple fact that you're alive and capable of making a change. In today's world, where distractions and negative news bombard us constantly, it's easy to let ourselves get stuck in a cycle of frustration or resentment. But the act of naming 3 things you're grateful for at the end of each day flips that script. It's a deliberate decision to focus on the good, even if it feels like it's buried under everything else. This practice doesn't just lift your spirits for a moment, it rewires your brain to look for gratitude every day, and with time, it becomes more automatic. You begin to see the positives in your life without having to force it. But it's not just about the big things. In fact, sometimes the most profound moments of gratitude come from the smallest, most ordinary experiences: a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a smile from a stranger, or the peace of sitting down to a meal. This kind of gratitude trains you to appreciate life in its full spectrum, not just when everything is going smoothly. Think about it. When was the last time you really paused and gave thanks for something simple but meaningful? Or have you ever gone to bed feeling defeated and overlooked all the good in your life simply because your emotions were running high? It's normal, but it doesn't have to be the rule. When you choose to name 3 things you're grateful for every night, you teach yourself to end your day on a positive note. It also helps to balance out those negative emotions that naturally arise. In fact, by doing this every day, you might start noticing that your overall emotional resilience improves. Gratitude doesn't erase the challenges you face. It doesn't make life perfect, but it helps you face those challenges with a mindset that's calm, centered, and prepared to deal with them. The more you practice gratitude, the more you'll realize that this mindset shift can be one of the most effective ways to keep your emotions under control. It's not always about feeling happy. It's about seeing the value in your life no matter what your emotional state is. So tonight, as you wind down and reflect on your day, try this. Take a few deep breaths, silence your mind, and deliberately pick 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe you'll be surprised at how many good things you can find, even on the toughest days. 8. The feedback loop. There's a powerful tool in personal growth that most people shy away from, and that's honest feedback. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of compliments we give each other to keep things comfortable. I'm talking about real, raw feedback. Once a week, find someone you trust, whether it's a friend, a colleague, or a mentor, and ask them to give you their unfiltered thoughts on your behavior, your actions, and how you show up in life. Actively listen to it without trying to defend yourself or justify your actions. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's one of the most powerful ways to grow as a person. You might feel the urge to explain yourself or get defensive, but that's your ego trying to protect you from the discomfort of the truth. But remember, as Jocko Willink wisely puts it, discipline equals freedom. The discipline to face hard truths, no matter how uncomfortable they are, is what ultimately leads to the freedom of self-improvement and growth. If we only surround ourselves with people who tell us what we want to hear, we're never going to get better. Real growth happens when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and open to the harsh reality of our own weaknesses, and believe me, we all have them. It's easy to get caught up in our own version of reality, especially when we're busy with life, work, relationships, and everything else. But when was the last time you truly asked someone, "How am I doing? How can I improve?" When we receive feedback, we get an outside perspective, a mirror that shows us things we might not be able to see ourselves. In today's world, it's easy to go on autopilot, especially as we get older. We have our routines, our habits, and sometimes it feels like we've got it all figured out. But deep down, we know there's always room for improvement. We all have blind spots, places where we can grow and become better versions of ourselves. Feedback is the tool that helps us identify those areas. I know this can be difficult. Nobody wants to hear that they're falling short in some areas. But the reality is, growth requires discomfort. Imagine you've been working hard on a project or a relationship, and everything seems to be going well. But what if you could make it even better? What if someone pointed out something you hadn't considered, something that would elevate your efforts even more? That's the power of honest feedback. I recently heard a story about a successful entrepreneur who had built a multi-million-dollar business. One of his mentors told him, "You're great at growing the business, but your leadership needs work. You're not listening enough to your team." At first, he didn't want to hear it. He thought he was doing a good job, but after sitting with the feedback and taking it seriously, he realized his mentor was right. By becoming a better listener, he was able to take his business and his relationships with his team to the next level. It wasn't easy, but that honest feedback gave him the insight he needed to make the changes that led to greater success. You see, it's not about being perfect. It's about recognizing that there's always something to learn, something to improve. When you ask for feedback and listen without defense, you allow yourself to step outside of your comfort zone. You open the door to growth. And that's the real freedom you gain from discipline. The ability to keep improving, to keep learning, and to keep getting better no matter where you are in life. 9. The emotion-action split. Life can throw at us all kinds of situations that stir up emotions, whether it's frustration from a traffic jam, anger from a heated argument, or anxiety before an important meeting. In those moments, it's easy to just react, to let those emotions drive our actions without thinking. But here's the thing. Letting your emotions dictate your actions often leads to decisions you might later regret. That's why the Stoics, who were masters of controlling their emotions, taught us an important principle. Don't just feel your emotions. Observe them, understand them, and then choose your response. This is where the emotion-action split comes in. Imagine this. You're sitting in traffic and suddenly you feel a wave of irritation rising within you. It's natural, but here's the key. Rather than immediately honking your horn or letting that irritation spill out, pause for a moment. Take a breath. Name the emotion you're feeling. Maybe it's frustration, maybe it's impatience. But by labeling it, you begin to create some space between that emotion and your next action. This act of pausing, of becoming aware of what you're feeling, is incredibly powerful. It allows you to step back from your emotions and see them for what they are. Just temporary feelings, not necessarily truth, and certainly not something that needs to dictate your actions. The next step is critical. Choose how you want to respond. Perhaps you decide to use the time in traffic to listen to a podcast or reflect on something you're grateful for. Maybe you choose to accept that the delay is out of your control and move on. The key is that you get to decide, not the emotion. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is where the strength lies, realizing that while you can't always control what happens around you, you can always control how you respond to it. Let's face it, we all know that reacting in anger or frustration rarely helps the situation. In fact, it often makes things worse. Practicing the emotion-action split throughout the day, you begin to rewire your brain. Every time you pause, name your emotion, and consciously choose your action, you are building a habit. Over time, this becomes second nature. You'll find yourself less reactive and more composed, more in control of your emotions. These small moments of self-control add up over time, and before you know it, you'll notice a huge shift in your ability to handle life's challenges. If you've made it this far, you're already on the path to mastering your emotions. Drop a comment saying, "I am in control," to show you're committed to these stoic practices and ready to take charge of your reactions. Stick around. There's so much more wisdom ahead on this journey to becoming the best version of yourself. 10. The Philosophical Punch. Every day you should challenge yourself to read a page from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or The Manual by Epictetus. These timeless writings aren't just for armchair philosophers. They are the battle-tested wisdom of ancient warriors who mastered their minds. These pages offer a mental workout that sharpens your thinking, just like lifting weights builds muscle. Why is this important? Because in today's world, it's easy to live a life of comfort and convenience where everything is designed to make you feel good and avoid discomfort. But if you spend your days wrapped in this comfort, you'll never discover what you're truly capable of. That's the real danger. The danger of coasting through life, never truly pushing yourself to grow. These daily habits, like reading the Stoics, are your path to unlocking your potential. They help you build the strength to choose your actions over your fleeting emotions. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a cliff, heart racing, palms clammy. Below, the waves of emotion crash violently, fear, doubt, and anxiety threatening to pull you under. Behind you, the comfortable path you know so well calls you back to safety. But at this moment, you face a choice. It's what sets apart those who make history from those who simply watch it pass by. Think about Winston Churchill, standing alone in the face of Nazi aggression. His emotions must have screamed, "Retreat." But he chose to lead, to act, to rally his people with courage in the face of overwhelming fear. His famous words, "We shall fight on the beaches," weren't born from a lack of fear. They came from a choice to act in spite of it. That's the power you hold within you today. Now, think of the myth of Odysseus. Remember how he and his men encountered the sirens, whose sweet songs could drive any man to destruction? Odysseus didn't succumb to the pull of temptation. He tied himself to the mast of his ship, facing the challenge head-on, choosing to master his desires over giving in to them. That same strength is within you. It's the same strength that pushed explorers to chart new continents, astronauts to venture into space, and revolutionaries to fight for a better world. It's the courage to act in line with your values, not your emotions. But here's the truth. Knowing what to do is only half the battle. The other half is doing it. Knowledge without action is like a sword without a warrior. Useless. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were emperors, slaves, soldiers, and statesmen. They practiced what they preached every single day, facing the harsh realities of life and choosing their actions wisely. They didn't write their wisdom from the safety of ivory towers, but from the chaos of battlefields, the hardship of ruling vast empires, and the trials of personal struggle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Meditations. Not from a place of ease, but in military camps, amid the stress of ruling an empire and leading men into battle. His reflections weren't just for intellectuals, they were tools for survival, guides for action. Just like the Navy SEALs motto, "The only easy day was yesterday," mastering your emotions and actions won't come without effort. It will take discipline. There will be days when your emotions feel like a tidal wave threatening to drown you. But that's when you need to remember, you are the captain of your ship, and you choose your course. Like a sailor steering through a storm, the weather of your emotions may rage, but it's your decisions, the rudder, that steer you to calmer waters. As Theodore Roosevelt famously said, "It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood." You're in that arena now. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose your actions over your impulses, you're making a powerful choice. You're becoming the hero of your own story. You're stepping into the ranks of those who changed the course of history, not by following their emotions, but by mastering them. 10.1. The journey you're on isn't just about personal growth, it's about becoming a rock of stability in a world that feels increasingly chaotic. It's about being the kind of person others can rely on when emotions are high and tempers are short. It's about leading by example, showing others that it's possible to navigate life with calm, wisdom, and integrity. The choice is yours. And in that choice lies not just your power, but your legacy. Each decision you make, each time you choose action over emotion, is a step toward mastering yourself and becoming the person you're meant to be. And as you walk that path, remember, your journey is about more than just you. It's about the impact you make on the world around you. Every action, every choice, adds up to something bigger. So, don't wait for a perfect moment. The time to act is now. The time to master your emotions and become the person you've always wanted to be is right in front of you. Step into the arena and make it happen. And there you have it, the challenge is laid before you. But remember, this is more than just talk, it's about action. I want to hear from you. Share in the comments a moment when you chose to control your actions over your emotions. What happened? How did it feel? Did you overcome an obstacle that once felt insurmountable? Or better yet, take on this challenge for the next week. Pick one of the techniques we discussed and put it into practice. Then come back and tell us how it changed the game for you. Did you manage to stay calm in a heated conversation using the pause and reflect technique? Did you push through when your emotions screamed, "Quit"? Or maybe you resisted the temptation of procrastination and stayed productive, even when the couch was calling your name. Remember, iron sharpens iron. Your story could be the inspiration someone else needs to take action. So don't hold back. Let's build a community of action takers, of emotion masters. Together we can become a modern-day army of Stoics, ready to take on whatever life throws our way. Now, for those of you thinking, "This all sounds great, but I'm not sure I can do it," listen closely. Yes, you can. As Muhammad Ali said, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it." The power is already inside you. It's always been there waiting to be unleashed. This isn't just self-improvement, it's a revolution in how we manage our emotions, make decisions, and ultimately, live our lives. So, are you ready to step into the arena? Are you ready to take control of your actions and become the master of your own destiny? It starts with you, right here, right now. And don't forget, if you found value in today's video, hit that like button, share it with someone who could benefit, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insights into mastering your emotions and living a purposeful life. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode of our journey toward Stoic mastery. Let's make it happen, together.